Hey everybody, this is CP Cards and Dice. Welcome to our continuing presentation of our 1983 experiment. It's the Seaver experiment. This is where I play Tom Seaver's 1983 return to the Mets after 6 years in Cincinnati, and I play it through a variety of mechanical systems or tabletop games, mechanic systems, and that's the experiment pretty much. And then at the end, I compare and contrast all the results. And here we are playing the Phillies are visiting Shea Stadium, and this game was played June 26th, so we're almost done with the month of June. I finished the month of June today, 1983. This is start 17, so we're halfway through the experiment for Payoff pitch. We're using Payoff pitch in this replay, and we're right about to get started. It's Tom Seaver facing off against John Denny. John Denny was 19-6 with a 2.37 ERA. I think he was the Cy Young Award winner. Again, 19-6 with a 2.37 ERA. So the Mets and Seaver have their work cut out for them. Seaver had an ERA of about a run and a half, a run and a quarter higher than Denny's. And then, of course, he was 9-14. Mets were not a very good team. So we're going to get started. It's going to be Bob Dernier in center field, Pete Rose at first base, Joe Morgan, the second baseman, Mike Schmidt, third baseman in the cleanup spot. Batting fifth is Von Hayes, the right fielder, Gary Matthews, the left fielder, Bo Diaz, the catcher, batting seventh. Batting eighth is Ivan De Jesus, the shortstop, and batting ninth is John Denny. Then you have Bob Baylor at second base, Huey Brooks at third base for the Mets. Batting third is the recently acquired Keith Hernandez from St. Louis Cardinals. He is now a Met, playing first base and batting third. Then you have George Foster, the left fielder. Darryl Strawberry batting fifth in right field. Danny Heap, the center field, batting sixth. Jose Oquendo, the shortstop, batting seventh. Batting eighth is Junior Ortiz, a new addition to the Mets team. He's the catcher and batting eighth. And then batting ninth is Tom Terrific. Let's get started. We're going to pull fast action cards. I don't know that I'll be throwing any dice. I do have some dice to my left here. I doubt that I'll be using those. So let's get started. Let's start pulling some cards. And that's a 7, and that's a tough pitch to Bob Dernier. Let's see what Dernier can do with it, and it's not going to be very much. It's going to be a flyout. Can of corn for the right fielder, Darryl Strawberry. One down. Here's P. Rose. He's a switch hitter batting from the left side. That's a 7. Another tough pitch. It's a tough 82. And that's a fly out to center field. On the run is, who's out there? Danny Heap. Will he catch up to it? And he does, so that's 2 away. And it's an 11. That's a tough pitch off Seaver. And 92, and that is going to be a fly ball to right field to retire the side. 3 up, 3 down. Bob Baylor is leading off. I remember Bob Baylor from the 77 Toronto Blue Jays. I remember him. And Huey Brooks, and then Keith Hernandez. Here's the pitch from John Denny. Let's see if they can crack John Denny. That's a patient 62 against a righty, and that's a fly to right. Little pop-up can of corn for the right fielder, Von Hayes. Here's Huey Brooks. That's a tough pitch, a tough 48. And that is going to be, let's see what that is. That's going to be a sharp liner in the center field and drops in front of the center fielder, Bob Dernier. All right, so here's Keith Hernandez. Keith Hernandez doesn't strike out very much, so we're going to hit and run. That's an 11. That's a tough 0-7. Oh, that's a swing and a miss, and this is probably a strike him out, throw him out, and it is. Strike him out, throw him out, and he's a lefty, so it was 2-6. No runs, 1 hit, none left. Top of the second. Seaver to Mike Schmidt. That's a 9. That's a patient 86. And that, my friends, is a base on balls. Holy smokes. I believe Schmidt led the league in walks. Had a ton of walks. He had 111 walks. On base percentage of 400. Von Hayes. Here's a pitch. That's a 10. That's a ballpark. Ballpark 14. Von Hayes is a lefty, so that's going to be wheelhouse for Hayes, and that's a deep drive to deep center field. On his horse's Heap. Will he catch up to it? And yes, he makes the catch at the warning track. Von Hayes gave it a ride all the way to the track. And that's 3. That's patient. Patient 65, and that's ball 4. So 2 walks in this inning for Tom Terrific. He's struggling a little bit with his control. Just to state the obvious. I need to state the obvious every so often. Here's a pitch again to Bo Diaz, with runners on first and second. That's an 8. That's a tough pitch, a tough 34. And that is going to be, oh, look at that. That's going to be a ground ball up the middle and through into center field for a base hit. All runners are going to advance just 1 base. Charging hard is Heap, and they stop Schmidt at third base. So the bases are loaded with 1 out for Tom Terrific. And here's Ivan De Jesus. Infield is back looking for the double play. That's a 10. That's a ballpark. A ballpark 96. That's going to be in play. In play 0-4. And that, my friends, is going to be a ground ball down the line into the left field corner. That's going to bound away from the left fielder, George Foster. 1 run comes in, 2 runs come in, 3 runs come in, and Jesus is going to try for third. Here's the relay, not in time. A bases clearing triple for Ivan De Jesus. He drives in 4, 6, and 7. Holy smokes. And just like that, Mets are down 3-0. Ivan De Jesus comes up huge. I'm going to double check that. That was a 7, which is, let's see. Actually, it was it was a ballpark. Then a 96 put it into the in play, and then a 0-4 was, I guess, a third. Yep, it's a triple. And then, of course, tells us what happened. So here's John Denny. Runner on third is automatic. Runner on third, nobody else on base is an automatic infield in with less than 2 outs. That's a 5 in play. That's a house rule. In play 63. Let's see, in play 63. And that is going to be a ground ball to second base. And we're going to see what happens here. Oh, and there's one thing I didn't bring out here, the rules. I brought everything else out. I didn't bring the rules out. Hold on a second. I'm outdoors. All right, so we're going to go to the section. Let's see. It's going to be the infield in section. And what do we pull? It was a 63, but the one before that's a 5. So 2 to 5 batter out. Bases not loaded. 2 to 5 batter out, runners hold. All right, so batters out, runners hold, 4-3. All right. And then it's Dernier. That's a 7. 7 is a tough 30. That's a wild pitch. That's going to score. De Jesus. So rolls to the backstop. And it's a wild pitch for Tom Terrific. We don't even have to look. And Dernier with a 30. What do we get? We get that. There was a tough 30, and that is going to be a ground ball and through the left side for a base hit. So that is hit number 3 in this inning. Dernier is on a first, and he's definitely a threat to steal. So he's going to be a 7. So here comes Rose, I believe, and that's a 7. There goes Dernier. The throw down. Oh, it could be in time. Let's see. Dernier maybe a B. He is a B. And I know that Ortiz is a 3, I believe. Yeah, B3. He's going to be safe. He is going to be safe on that attempted steal. Yeah, B3, and it was very good chance of stealing, and he gets to second base. So 2 outs, runner on second. And Pete Rose, second place batter. Here's a pitch from Seaver. That's tough. Again, another tough pitch. Tough 42, and that is going to be a comebacker. Seaver feels his position and throws out Rose to retire the side. But the Phils come up with 4 runs on 3 hits and 2 walks, and they lead at 4-0, just like that. All right, bottom of the second. Denny versus Foster. It's a 9. That's a tough 50. And that is going to be a line drive, base hit center field, played on a hop by the center fielder Dernier. Foster's on. And here's Strawberry with a 7. 7 is a tough. And a tough 0-2 is a swing and a miss. Strawberry strikes out. Here's Danny Heat with a 3. That's defense. Defensive 0-0 with a runner on first. That's going to be rare play time. Rare play time. We're going to pull a card and look at the 2D6. That's a 9. A 9 says pitcher develops. Oh, we're going to go check the pitcher. He's okay. Oh, actually, I changed that. I took that injury out. It's 7 defense. Okay, defensive role on a defensive chart. Player with an A or an E. Okay, so let's see. It goes to the first baseman. He is not an A. He's not an A. Does not have a 5E. He does not have a 5 error rating. So he does not make a highlight reel catch. Otherwise, it's a single. Oh, if it's a rain, it's an error. So it's a 1 base error on the first baseman. So it's an E3. And that's going to put runners on first and second. So Danny Heap is on the first baseman's error. A little bobble by Pete Rose made the difference there. All right, so let's have a little something going with only 1 out. Here's Jose Oquendo. Here's a pitch from Denny. That's another defense, a 99. That's going to be an out. Who's a 2? It's the second base. What kind of an out? It is a ground ball. Runners advance to second base. 4-3. Second and third now. And Junior Ortiz, they're gonna pit with second and third. You walk Ortiz. Yeah, we're gonna walk Ortiz and pitch to Seaver. Here's a pitch to Seaver. That's an 8. That's an in play 63. And that, my friends, is a ground ball to second base. Fielder's choice. Force at second. And that retires the side. No runs, 1 hit, 3 left on with the error and the base on balls. And we go to the top of the third. 4-0 Phillies. All right, here's Joe Morgan. That's a 6. That's in play 74. That's a fly to center. On the run is Danny Heat. And he catches up to it. An 11, that's a tough 0-1. A swing and a miss by Schmidt, and he goes down swinging. And here's Von Hayes with 2 outs. That's a 6. That's an in play 52. And that is a comebacker to Seaver. Over to first, and that retires the side. 3 up, 3 down. That was a quick inning for Tom. Terrific. Here's Bob Baylor, top of the order, leading it off. Bob Baylor, Brooks, and Hernandez. See if the Mets can get something going here with a tough pitch by Denny. A tough 21, and he's going to muscle that into left field for a blue Texas leaguer. He's on with a single. Bob Baylor tries that off his fists. That's a 10, a tough 70. And that's a flat to right off the bat of Brooks. A couple of steps to his right is Von Hayes, makes the catch. Here's Keith Hernandez with a 6. That's an in play 99. And that's a flat to right towards the line, and catching up to it is Von Hayes. And here's George Foster at 5. Patient 95. Another fly ball. This time it's to left field. So the Mets are hitting a lot of fly balls. And we go to the top of the fourth, and it's time to check the score and to shuffle the cards. The score is the home team has got nothing, and the away team has got 4. And we are in the 4th inning. 4-0 Phils. And we are going to, let's see. We're going to shuffle our deck a little bit here. I hope everybody's doing well. We're playing Payoff Pitch, where we're basically researching the payoff pitch and how it will do in comparison to Applin's Stratomatic, and then we'll go to another system. This is the last game in the month of June, so I got 3 more months. I've got July, August, and September, and we'll be done, and then we can look at the stats and compare and contrast. I have the stats from the other replay, so that's going to be interesting to analyze. I'll have to eventually type them up. Because my theory and hypothesis is that every game is going to give you pretty close results. And no game is going to be exact. That's pretty much my hypothesis, and I expect to prove it. All right, so here goes Tom Terrific to Gary Matthews. I remember him with the Atlanta Braves. That's a 7. That's a tough pitch. A tough 0-4 is a swing and a miss at a Seaver fastball. Bo Diaz, who singled earlier on, that's a tough pitch. A tough 52, and that is a ground ball to first base. Keith Hernandez is going to handle that easily. Takes it himself. And now it's De Jesus. He's the big guy with the big bases clearing triple. That's a 3. That's a patient 43. And that, my friends, is a drive that's going to heads towards center field, and that is going to drop in for a base hit. And here's the pitcher, John Denny. John Denny batted 169. And here's a pitch. That's a 5. That's in play. And in play 14, that's going to be a, let's see, that's going to be a sharp single into center. And with 2 outs, De Jesus is going to go to first and third now. Let's double check De Jesus, make sure he's a 6, and he is. My guesses are pretty close. Not too bad. Usually I get a good feeling for guys. First and third now with 2 outs. See if Seaver can get out of this. That's a 5. That's an in play. And in play 60, and he should be able to get out of it, and he will. That's a fly to right. On the run is Strawberry, and he tracks it down to retire the side. No runs, 2 hits. We go to the bottom of the 4th. All right, a 5 from Denny is a patient to Darryl Strawberry, which is a 92, and that is going to be a ground to second. Who's that there? Second baseman, Joe Morgan. Here's Danny Heat, 9. That's a tough 35, and that is a ground ball and through in the center field for a base hit. This is the 1, 2, 3, 4th base hit that the Mets have collected in this game. Here's Okendo with a 3. That's a defense. Defense 18, that is going to be a definite range. That's going to be a base hit. Range to the pitcher, base hit is going to be a single. Runner to third. So Mets have been getting lucky. Here's Junior Ortiz, first and third. Infield back, that's a 7. Tough pitch, tough 63. And a tough 63 is going to be a fly to right. This may turn out to be, what did I say it was? Tough. According to that, okay, the chart, there's no advance on the tough. All right, so there is no advance on the tough, so that's going to be a fly out to shallow right field. And now it's Tom Terrific here. Tom Terrific in 4 innings. He settled down a little bit, although last inning he gave up two singles. All right, we're going to let Terrific bat 5. That's patient, a patient 0-5, and that's ball 4. Bases are loaded. So Denny walks the bases, walks Seaver with 2 outs to load the bases, and here comes Bob Baylor. Let's see if Bob Baylor can come up big. The Mets are down 4-0. Bases are loaded here in the bottom of the 4th with 2 outs, and it's Bob Baylor. He's a right-hander. He hit righties at a 235 clip. He was much better against lefties at 289. Hey there, Eric. How are you, my brother? All right. A bases clearing double right here could put the Mets within 1 run in the bottom of the 4th. The Phillies lead at 4-0. Here's the pitch from John Denny. That's a 3. That's a defense 59. There's going to be an error on the third baseman. Third baseman is, of course, Mike Schmidt. And he is an error rating of 3. And that over here on the chart makes it 1-47. We rolled a 59, so that's a ball that Schmidt gets to, and that's going to retire the side. No runs, 2 hits, 3 left. And Tom Seaver against Pete Rose. That's an 8. That's a tough pitch, a tough 63, and that is a fly ball to left field. Got under that one. Lifted it to left. Under it is Foster. Here's Joe Morgan with a 10. That's a ballpark 25. That's a wheelhouse. And that ball is driven, and that's going to fall in, cut off quickly by the center fielder Heap to keep Morgan to a single. Morgan took a big turn, looked like he was going to try for 2, and then changed his mind. It was cut off, played well by Danny Heap in center field. Not really the Mets' everyday center fielder. It's usually Mookie Wilson, but there are a couple of games where Danny Heap does play center field. Mike Schmidt is up, and there's some movement I can see down there in the bullpen. I can see some movement. And that's a 3. That's going to be a patient 19, and that's going to be it for Seaver. Out comes Frank Howard. And that's it for Tom Terrific. Tom Terrific. He faced 22 batters. And how many hits? 1 hit, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits. And 4 1/3, 4.1. And we don't know how many runs he's going to give up. But the Mets have a good, strong bullpen. They've got some bulls in that bullpen, that's for sure. And who are we going to see in this game? We're going to see Doug Sisk coming in. See if we can get 3 innings out of him. Doug Sisk. And here goes. Doug Sisk was a tremendous bullpen for the Mets. He was 2.24 ERA with a 5-4. 5-4 record. All right, Von Hayes is up with runners on first and second. Here's the pitch. It's a 12. That's ballpark 47. He's a lefty. That's going to be wheelhouse, and that's a deep drive. No doubt about that. A deep drive to right field. Back goes Strawberry to the track, to the wall. Looks up. That's out of here. And that is 7-0. Phillies with that 3-run shot. He drives in number 3, number 4 in the lineup in the batting order, and then himself, which is number 5, with a 3-run shot. Von Hayes versus righties hit 6 home runs and 350 at bats. No home runs versus lefties. All his home runs came off of righties. And yes, sir, he jacks one out of the park here at Shea Stadium and puts the Phillies up 7-0. Here's Doug Sisk continues against Gary Matthews. A rude welcome for Doug Sisk. That's a tough pitch, a tough 52, and that is a bouncer to the first baseman. Hernandez is going to flip to the pitcher. And that's 2 outs. And now it's Bo Diaz with a 2. That's in play, an in-play 30. And that is going to be an opposite field liner and drops in front of the right fielder. Strawberry plays it on a hop. 2-out single in a 7-0 game. Doug Sisk with the pitch to Ivan De Jesus. That's a 9. That's a tough pitch, a tough 62. And that's a fly to right field. Settling under it is Strawberry for the 3rd out, but the Phils pick up 3 more runs on a couple of hits. And ouch. Seaver's ERA is going to take a battering in this game. Give up 6 runs in 4 innings. Holy smokes. And he gave up 1, 2, 3 walks. 3 walks and a couple of Ks. And that's going to be it. We expect him to take the loss. We'll see, unless barring a miracle, right? Hubie Brooks is leading off against John Denny, probably the best pitcher in the league. 9, tough. Another tough pitch, a tough 83. And that is a fly to center. Next is Keith Hernandez, who's 0 for 2. That's a 6. And in play 55. And that is grounded to first. He pulls one down the line, stopped by Rose, and he steps on the bag. 6, that's in play. In play, Foster with a 76, and that's a fly to deep center field. On the run is Dernier, and he tracks it down to retire the side. 3 up, 3 down for Denny. Probably the easiest inning he's had. The only inning where he hasn't allowed a base runner. All right, John Denny leading it off here against Doug Sisk. That's an 8, a patient 74. And that is a fly to center. So pop-up shallow center field. Racing in is Heap, and he gets there. Bob Dernier with a 6, and that's a patient 99. It's a fly to left field. Under it is Foster, 2 down, and here's a 7. That's a in play 0-5. And that is going to be a deep drive to center field. One hops the wall. Played by Heap, gets it in, and Rose is in with a 2-out double. Joe Morgan now. Pitch to Morgan is a 6. That's a patient 97. And that is going to be a ground ball down the line, and that's going to get past the diving first baseman, Heath Hernandez, into the corner. Scoring easily is going to be Pete Rose, and the throw to second to get Morgan is not in time. Back-to-back doubles, 8-0 Phillies. Here's Mike Schmidt with a 7. That's in play, 0-3. And that is going to be a deep drive off the wall in left field. And this is going to be another back-to-back-to-back doubles. And that, my friends, is going to be all for Doug Sisk. We're going to bring in Carlos Diaz. Carlos Diaz is going to come in. So Sisk is out. He went 2/3, 1.1. Diaz is in there now. Let's see if we can get 3 innings out of Diaz. That's what I said last time. It's deja vu all over again. So back-to-back-to-back doubles. And it's 9-0 Phillies. Let's see if we can get an out here. Diaz to Von Hayes, lefty on lefty. That's a 6. A tough 20, and that is a swing and a miss, and that will retire the side. But the Phils pick up another couple of runs on 3 hits. Then we go to the bottom of the 6th. 9-0 Phillies. Strawberries up against John Denny. That's an 11. That's tough pitch. 0-0 is going to be a defensive call of 56. We're looking at an error on the shortstop. Ivan De Jesus. I turned that 0-0 with bases empty into a defensive check. Ivan De Jesus is a 3 error rating. And here at Shea Stadium, that's going to be 1-47. So that's going to be a line drive and caught at the shortstop. So Strawberry lines out to up the middle. And 6, that's in play 78. And that is a fly to center. On his horse is Dernier, and he tracks it down. So Heap gave it a ride. But Von Hayes, Bob Dernier kept it in his sights and tracked it down. Here's Jose Oquendo, a 10. That's a tough pitch. Another tough pitch. Tough 81, and that's, again, a fly out to retire the side. 3 up, 3 down. We go to the top of the 7th. It's that time again to check our scoreboard. And this time it's going to be the Phils tacked on another 5 runs and made it 9 here in the 7th inning. 9-0 Phillies against the hometown Mets. And slowly you can see the fans making their way to the exits slowly. You're in the top of the 7th inning. Avoid the traffic out to the island. Get on the Grand Central Expressway, the Long Island Expressway, to get out to the island and avoid the crowd trying to get out a little bit early. They feel like this game is over with John Denny pitching. All right, here's Carlos Diaz. Top of the 7th, Carlos Diaz versus Matthews, Bo Diaz, and then De Jesus. Matthews is 0 for 2. with a walk and a run scored. That's a 6. That's a tough pitch, a tough 92. And that is chopped to short. Waiting back is Okendo. Now he charges, fires to first, and in time to get Matthews by half a step. Next is Bo Diaz. That's a 7 in play 44. And that is a pop-up to left side. Third baseman Hubie Brooks calling for it, waits, and makes the catch. 2 out. Here's a 12. That's defense. A defense 31. It's going to be on the error on the pitcher, Carlos Diaz. His fielding is a 5 error rating. And that's a great play by Diaz. From one knee, throws the first, and in time gets his man. Great play, great stop by Carlos Diaz. A hard one-hopper right at him. It was a little bit of self-defense. Fell down to one knee, but grabbed the ball and was able to throw out Ivan de Jesus to end the inning. No runs, no hits. Bottom of the 7th. Junior Ortiz. That's a 3. That's defense. Another defense. That's going to be an error or hit. It's going to be an error on the pitcher. Is it a 1 or 2? Then it's going to be an E1, a one-base error on the pitcher, Denny. So Ortiz is on at first. And now it's going to be Carlos Diaz batting. Carlos Diaz is a 1. He's got only 1.1, and we need more time out of him, so we cannot replace him at this point. So all right, let's see. So here is runner on first, nobody on. We're going to allow Carlos Diaz to bat. That's a 4. That's a tough 26. That's a strikeout. So Diaz, we'll write him in. He bats. I'll maybe make a note. Diaz bats in bottom of 7th. Top of the order now with 1 out and a runner on first base. Bob Baylor, that's a 4. That's a tough 69. And that is a chopper to second. That's going to be a 6-4-3 double play. Nope, I think it was a chopper to second. 4-6-3 double play. Side retired. No runs, no hits, 1 error, 1 left on. Top of the 8th. Here's John Denny. It's an 11. That's a patient. A patient 0-4 is ball 4. So John Denny walks. So Diaz not happy about that. Walking the pitcher. Here's Bob Dernier. That's an 8. That's a tough 89. And that's a grounder to short. Will this be a double play? No, sirree. It's a 6-4 fielder's choice. 1 on, 1 out. Pete Rose. Pete Rose with a 10. That's a tough 33. And he's a lefty, so we're going to look on the left side. A tough 33 is a pop-up, middle of the infield, near the bag at second. And that's Baylor, makes the catch, 2 down. And here's Joe Morgan with a 6. That's a tough pitch, a tough 50. And that is going to be a grounded to third. Hubie Brooks goes to second for the force, and that retires the side. No runs, no hits. 1 left, the walk. And now we go to the bottom of the 8th inning, Denny versus Hubie Brooks. It's a 9. That's a tough 33, and that's a strikeout. 1 down. Keith Hernandez with a 10, another tough pitch, a tough 62, and that is a chopper to third. They throw out Hernandez, and here's George Foster with 2 outs. And he swings through a fastball to retire the side. 3 up, 3 down. 9th inning. It's almost over. And it's going to be Carlos Diaz going for his 3rd inning here. 6. A tough 98. And that's a flat left. Mike Schmidt, 1 down. Bon Hayes with a 6. A tough 61. And that's a chopper to third. Brooks throws him out. So Hayes is retired. And now here is with 2 outs, Gary Matthews, a 9. That's a tough pitch. And he swings through a Slider to retire the side. 3 up, 3 down. And Carlos Diaz did his job, came in, went 3.1. I just didn't want to bother changing anybody. It's a walk and a K. He had a walk and 2 Ks. 1 walk, 2 Ks. I don't keep the stats anyway, so and he faced 7, 10, 11 batters. Not too bad. Not unrealistic. And they used to go, these relief pitchers would easily go 3 innings when necessary. All right, so it's the bottom of the 9th. It's going to be Strawberry, Heap, and Okendo. Here's a pitch from Denny. That's a 9. That's tough. A tough 70. Tough 70, and that, just missed being a hit. That's chopped to short. And the shortstop, De Jesus, charges and throws out. Strawberry. Next is Danny Heap with a 6. That's an in play 99, and that's a fly ball to deep right field. On the track is Von Hayes, and he makes the catch. And here's Okendo. Okendo with a ballpark. Ballpark 57. Okendo's batting from the left side, so he is going to get that. So we're going to look at wheelhouse against a righty, and it's a 13, and that is a drive in the gap. Will the center fielder catch up to it? No. Cuts it off quickly, and that keeps Okendo to a single. 2-out single, keeping Mets hopes alive in a 9-0 game. Junior Ortiz is batting. It's a 4. It's a tough 49. And that, my friends, is a base hit. And that will send Okendo to third. Pretty sure Okendo's a 6, but maybe not. Never know. Yep, he is. First and third. Now we get a pinch hitter. It's going to be Rusty Staub. Legrand Orange. Love bringing Rusty into pinch hit. He just won the game yesterday, or earlier in the day today, with a pinch hit single or double it was. I can't remember. I think it was a pinch hit double. 2-out pinch hit double. He's coming in here. And he will be facing John Denny. Lefty hitting Rusty Staub. Here's a pitch from Denny to Staub. That's a 6. That's an in play. In play 20. That is going to be, my friends, is going to be a base hit. That's going to drive home a run. And Junior Ortiz, I believe, is going to stop at second. Let's see what this says. Yep. Junior Ortiz is going to stop at second base. RBI single. Second game in a row where Rusty Staub picks an RBI as a pinch hitter. And runners on first and second. Rusty's running for himself in a 9-1 game. There goes the shutout. And here's Bob Bailey with a 5. That's Patient. Patient 57. And that is going to be all she wrote. Grounded to third. Steps on the bag. And that is the ball game. 1 run on 3 hits. Final score 9-1. Mets had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hits. And did the Mets make any errors? I don't think so. No, they did not. No errors for the Mets. Phils had 3 hits, 4, 5 hits, 6, 7 hits, 8, 9, 10 hits. So Phils 9 runs, 10 hits, 2 errors. The Mets 1 run, 8 hits, no errors, and Seaver falls to 4-4 on his record. We got to look up his ERA, but I'm going to do all that today. See where he's at. His real ERA was about 3.55. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Bears Den, how are you, my brother? Good to see you guys. The Seaver experiment, we got 3 more months to go of games. I print out these pages from digidugout.com. And then what I do is I print out the whole month and I play the month, like in a day or two. I do his 6 starts in a day or two. It's very easy to do with Payoff Pitch because you got all the players. You don't have to print out anybody usually. And then I play it, and then I'm going to compare and contrast it to at the end. I'm going to compare and contrast it to how he did with Appa, very close. How he did with Strat, very close. Again, my hypothesis is that regardless of the game that you play, and I'm trying to make the point that I think it's erroneous or a myth that one game is so much more accurate than another. Now I believe I have data to, in other words, I believe that there's some games that are more accurate than others simply because they have sims to use. Like if you have your game set up on a computer where I can replay the season 1,000 times, and I can look and see for discrepancies and outliers and things that really keep on coming up. Like, oh, this season keeps on showing too many walks. Let's go back and recalculate what we did with the walks. Why is it showing so many walks for so many replays? You see, they can do that, but if it's a game that doesn't have that option, then it's got to be a little bit more conservative. And what I mean by that is I think that you should really be cautious. For example, APA Baseball has a very fundamental algorithm of, 2 plus 2 is 4. They never really deviated from that for the last 60 years. And guess what? You can play those old cards today and you can still get a reasonable result, a reasonable simulation of the season and so on. It's pretty impressive how a simple season where it's just one dice roll is going to represent, all the stats, the walks, the hits, everything pretty close, relatively speaking, for whatever season you're playing. So now if you start getting really fancy and have a lot of different, how can I say, bells and whistles, a lot of different features where you're doing this, you're doing that, then you really have to have everything calculated well. Replay Baseball, for example, does a lot of things with their new sets. Their old sets were straightforward. I really like their old sets, but they don't have a lot of them, it seems. I have the 84 set, and I have a couple other sets, but they don't have a lot of the old sets for whatever reason. And I don't go below 1967. I started 1967 and up, even though I struggled with 67, 68, and 68. No, 67, 68, 69 I already know. But I struggled with 67 knowing the players. Replay Baseball has also a sim game, a computer sim game, where they can play the season 1,000 times, and they can look for anomalies, they can look for something that stands out. Oh, look, the season keeps on showing 300 fewer strikeouts again and again and again. Why is that happening? Where did we miss out? Where did we make a mistake? Let's go back and analyze this. They can do that. You can't do that with games that don't have a sim engine. All you can rely on is, basically anecdotal evidence from knuckleheads like me, sitting here and rolling dice and having a good time. But ultimately, there's no empirical truth of a system that's been tested on and on and on 1,000 times, like you can with Stratomatic and like you can with Replay Baseball. So if somebody came to me and said, you know what, I think Stratomatic probably has the most accurate results, you know what? I think they have an argument. But what does it really mean? The most accurate means that you're going to be one closer to what it was than the next guy who maybe doesn't have that sim engine. And maybe you'll be 1 point closer to everything. But ultimately, 1 point closer doesn't make it fun for me. What makes it fun for me is access to all the seasons. What makes it fun for me is something that's affordable. What makes it fun for me is a game mechanic that's simple, straightforward, doesn't have a lot of what I call stops on the road, pit stops, where when this happens, now you got to stop the whole game. You got to start looking at this chart, and chart 1 takes you to chart 2, or section 1 takes you to section 2, and then section 2 takes you to section 3, and then all of a sudden now you got the result, and then you don't remember where you were or what the score is. You got to be careful with that, and some games do that, but some games don't do it that often. And if you don't do it that often, that's okay. But once you start doing it that often, and also it has to do with, where I'm looking on the card. Do I look at one place and then 2 places? Do I have to look at 2, 3, 4, 5 places for every result? That could be a little bit tiresome. My eyes get worn out at the end of the night a lot of times, and I really can't see anymore. Everything's blurry. So yesterday I couldn't get past the 7th inning. I had to I think it was like 1:30 or 2 in the morning. And I did take a muscle relaxer, and then I couldn't see anymore, and I just had to stop the game in the 7th inning. So we had to come back and resume it today. But I couldn't see anymore. It was just everything was blurry because my eyes get tired. I read all day. So by the end of the night, Um, but I'm still pretty good early on, so I can still see right now. So I'm going to start playing one Fall Classic game after this, and then I'm going to start doing the stats. And I will come print out for tomorrow. I will print out July. I want to finish July this weekend for sure, and then maybe start on August. And then I'm going to compare and contrast APA, Stratomatic. And again, my theory, my hypothesis is that regardless of the game, you're going to get, a variance of results. It's never going to be like exact. Sometimes it will be. Sometimes, for example, in my Seaver replay, my APA 1970 Seaver replay, I think he gave up 91 runs, and in my replay, he gave up 90 runs, something like that. Something, that's pretty amazing. And then, of course, the walks were right on. I think it was 83 to 80. The strikeouts were a little bit off, but that's because APA has a large range. Like they don't have a lot of APA is very interesting. They don't have a lot of grades. Their grade ranges are large. In other words, a pitcher's ERA could represent a pitcher with a 2.75 ERA or a 3.25 ERA. You see, and then of course another could be a 3.25 ERA or a 4 ERA. And then of course they have other factors. They have the Z or no Z, and then they have the team that you're playing with, and that's how they calculate it. They weigh all those things. If it's a good team, they're not going to give you a really good rating because then you may overperform. They may have to cut you. But if you have a really good team that scores a lot of runs and you're on the cusp, on the line between being an A pitcher and a B pitcher, they may give you a B because they know if they give you an A, you're going to overperform. So those are the things that APA think, pretty basic, fundamental things, and pretty much they were right. I'm pretty impressed by a very simple game, which is very affordable. And this is a lot of fun. This game is great, and I'm going to prove to you guys that this is no better or no worse than Replay or Strat or Status Pro. And I'm going to prove to you that they're all pretty much the same. They're all going to give you a pretty close, simulation of the season that you're trying to produce. I'm using actual lineups just to not put all the best batters against the pitcher that's on the mound. I'm not looking through the cards and saying, oh, this guy batted 399, so we're going to bat him against his lefty, or stuff like that. I'm not going to game the system because then that would basically, kind of work against what I'm trying to prove. It wouldn't make sense. So I'm using actual lineups and trying to be as realistic as possible, not letting Seaver go over his 7 innings unless he's doing really good, and then I'll give him 1 extra inning. And that's it. I'm not going to over pitch him, and I'm not going to under pitch him either. I'm just going to, based on, today he gave up 4 runs in the 2nd inning, and then we waited to see what was going to happen, and he got a 1-2-3 inning in the 3rd. And then he retired the first 2 batters in the 4th, but then he gave up 2 infield singles, and then he got Dernier to fly out. So he was still good. But then in the 5th inning, he came in there and got the first Pete Rose, the first batter to fly out. But then it was a single by Morgan and a 4-pitch walk to Mike Schmidt, and that was it. Out came Frank Howard, and he replaced Seaver, and he brought in Stug Sisk, the rookie, and promptly fed Davon Hayes a gopher ball that he launched into the seats, and that was a 3-run shot, and that put the game out of reach for the Mets. 3-run home run by Von Hayes off of Doug Sisk in that top of the 5th inning. And then it was a grounder and a single and a flyout to end the inning. And the next inning was a flyout, 2 flyouts, and then it was a double, double, and double. And Sisk was replaced. And then it was Carlos Diaz, the lefty, who came in to face the lefty Von Hayes and struck him out. Then in the 7th, got 3 outs. In the 8th, he walked the first batter, then retired the next 3, and then the 9th he retired 3. So he went 3.1, and he did well. So this is CP Cards and Dice. I hope you enjoyed our presentation of Payoff Pitch and the Seaver experiment of 1983 when he comes back to the Mets. I actually have the yearbook. Fascinating. Mailman, it was an envelope where that said "Do not bend," and the mailman forced it into my mailbox and ruined it for me. It's 60 years old, and the guy doesn't understand what "do not bend" means. That means you got to get out of your truck, you got to walk to my door, and you got to lay it down on the floor. You can't stick it in the damn mailbox. But they got a lot of what I don't. I like when I have one mailman. I had one mailman. I used to give him $50, $100 every year, and thank you very much. He used to take care of me, you know, and he knew I appreciated him. And now I moved to a bigger city, and it seems like I have a new mail person every week. One week is a lady, another week is a man, one week is a young man, the next week is an old man, and I never have the same guys. So they never really, when you're not doing the same route, you don't see the same people, so you don't have that connection. Say, I got to take care of their mail. I'm not going to bend something that says do not bend. What the hell's wrong with you? So drinking a little Bai antioxidant cocoa fusion. This is expensive. These bottles are $2 each. Holy smokes. What am I drinking? Guinness? That's it. This is CP Cards and Dice saying thanks for watching this presentation of Payoff Pitch. I'm learning Fall Classic, so stay tuned for that. And I will see you guys soon. Take care.